A ty, babi?
Babi, musíš tam na to kliknout. Ne, na to
Babi,
druhý.
musíš tam na tu ikonku.
Sluchátko, babi.
Jeden svět, festival dokumentárních filmů o lidských právech. 10. května až 6. června Jeden svět.cz pořádá Člověk v tísni.
Dobré odpoledne, vážení diváci.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our One World studio. This time it will be a Q&A following the screening of Bitter Love. And we will be talking to the director, Jiří Sladkovský.
Můžete se také ptát vy.
You can also ask questions. Yes, welcome, Jiří.
You can jak na Facebooku,
ask via Facebook and YouTube
aplikaci Slido budeme
and Slido. We will be very happy
na něco budete ptát a chtěl bych poděkovat ještě
and I would like to thank the Dutch embassy because it made it possible for us to have this stream today. Now I have a first question for the director. The film started its festival journey last year during the pandemic.
A pandemie je doba osamělosti.
And the pandemic, it's lonely time. And the film, a lot of the film is about loneliness. Does it seem that it resonates really well during these times? What has the response been?
Response in Russia or generally?
Obecně.
In general.
In general. Well, I mean, people are moved, yes, because this is a reminder. This is a deep dive in our lives and the way we just confront the life and the problems. So usually we have a very good reception. Actually, the reception of the audience is better than the reception of the juries, not critics, but juries, because they usually have the very good reviews, but the festivals, they need more stronger topics connected to, well, the situation worldwide is just really complicated, so it's not strange. But I am a great fan of Anton Chekhov, and I love to work in Russia, and I speak Russian, and I understand the culture very well. And I wanted to make a film closer to his way of seeing the human being. And this trip, Volga trip, seems to be a perfect place because I've been to such a trip twice before. And this what happened in this film, for me, it was basically things that I've seen before. And I liked it. It was interesting. It was very moving. It was emotionally very powerful. So I think that the audience gets some profit out of it.
No, to je docela zajímavé. Mě by tedy
That's quite interesting.
Když jste šel tedy po třetí teďkon na
So that was your third trip of this sort, and you decided to shoot. Did you know the protagonist in advance, or did you just arrive with your crew and you said to yourself, I wonder whom I will meet, and it's all going to happen spontaneously?
Listen, this is the very funny story, because usually I make a research and I am trying to find a character. In this case, we were trying to find a character. We started 1.5 years before the shooting. And the concept was that there are definitely people who are applying to the companies, travel companies for this cruise. And we asked them to let us use their data and contact them. And we contacted a lot of people. I mean, basically my Russian partners did. And they found this couple who engaged in the end of the film. And they called me. I went to Russia. I went to the city of Kirov. It's the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of Russia, actually. And did you see the film?
No, viděl.
Yes, I have.
You did. So there is this couple, And this problem with the bird, yes. And I was introduced to them, and they were very nice, but most of people are very nice when you meet them for the first time, and they know that we're searching for the characters for the film. So I was just, and then I am very passive. I'm just observing. Yes, I'm rather waiting for what they would say, by own initiative. And suddenly I observed that the woman was, when she was looking at her husband, or not her husband yet, but her partner since 22 years, she was not very happy. She was kind of pissed off or something. And then I just wanted to check it, and I asked her, listen, please tell me, you have to admit that you love him. And she said, I hate this bird. And then I had the key to them. I knew that they are the characters, because this emotion, the first thing she said about her partner since 22 years was that she hated his bird. It was a very good introduction and the beginning of our friendship until today. So it was, and then they were friends. The singer in the ship, on the ship, was their friend. So we met him the same day, and he started telling this story. He's always telling the same story about this woman who left him, and he was not very happy, and he was suffering, and so. So we got those three characters, and we knew that even if we go to the boat with those characters, we will have a bridge to other characters, yes? So I am not going to be approaching people, introducing myself, but I will wait until they will connect other people, and we will get the knowledge about them from them. This was the concept. But when we came to the boat, I realized that I am one of the youngest passengers in the boat. And I start sweating because I didn't know what was going on, because we were talking about young people, about grown-up people, about sometimes elderly people too, but not about retired people all way long. And then my production manager, she had to tell the truth. And the truth was that 2 years later, or now it would be 4 years later or 5 years later, Putin forbid all the people working for KGB, for police, for army, to go abroad for vacations. They were not allowed to leave Russia. So they had to spend their holidays on the river, in Russia. And then the companies arranging this cruises, they just gave them a very attractive discount. So all the boats were full of retired people, and unfortunately we just happened to choose the boat where the KGB people were, traveling with us. So actually I had those three, and then I met in the bar because I was a little bit frustrated. So the first day on the boat, I went to the bar in the evening. It usually helps to take a drink. And I met the young couple, a beautiful young couple. He was a piano player, she was a singer, opera singer, and they were performing on the ship. So there were already 5 people. And then we met, not we, but the singer met this girl who, there was something between them which didn't come out good in the end, but they became kind of friends or something. So after a few days, we just had a group of people which were very natural. They were real. They didn't play. and if you should see our crew working, so very seldom we look like a film crew, because people are having cameras on everywhere. I mean, a lot of people. We don't use a very big equipment, who is, very, very, it's kind of scary sometimes, but our photography is always dark black. He's extremely nice person, extremely social, and there's charismatic, and he talks to people, and so they actually sometimes we are finished the shooting, and they are asking when we will start to shoot. So it's not too big, making a big noise around you. It's not silence, camera, sound. I never use it. We are just using some gestures, and basically very, very seldom the people we shoot know that we are just begin to shoot. This is my concept. It has to be natural. It has to be, even if I provoke things, which I do, maybe not that much in vogue, but in some occasions you have to put things in motion. So I try to not to use. I don't direct. I don't instruct. I just find a way to create a situation where the characters have to act. And that works, but it's time consuming.
Thank you very much for your answer, and we now have the first questions from the audience. Someone is asking, did you get involved in the activities on the boat during the shooting, or perhaps during your previous trips? Did you also find someone, perhaps? A date, maybe?
Sorry?
Perhaps a date?
Well,
did you find a date?
Well, I mean, it's not very different from my entire life. I was married 4 times, and I don't know. I just meet people.
So it
was easy for you to connect to the people who had similar stories like yours. Could we say that?
Well, very easily, yes, very easily. And then, of course, I am learning too, because people, I prefer to talk with just ordinary people than to talk with psychologists or scientists or something, because this is the language I understand, and this is the behaviors that I understand, and it is mine too. Yes, I am not. Nobody puts me in the situation when I'm expected to force myself to be different or to do something different. No, it's a lot of things that we know how to do, and then we just learn from each other. So, no, it was. I didn't have any problem with this, but when I'm making a film, I try to avoid dating and chasing girls and so, because this is not professional. It's not helping it really causes problems. So no, I avoid it, and all of us.
Děkuji moc za otázku.
Thank you very much.
Mě by ještě zajímalo,
what I would like to know,
film zařadili do kategorie,
your film is included in a category that we called Russian Standard, which maps out present-day Russia. And your film, in a very interesting way, shows the big Russian soul. You said you wanted to come closer to Chekhov. I think you really managed well. What is it that you find interesting in Russia?
Well, there is an atmosphere, because I know the history of Russia. Yes, it's very, very brutal, and Russians the history is full of tragedies, full of fights, full of even barbarian behaviors and so. But there is this soul which is oriented on surviving. When you meet people which I used to spend a hell of time in the northern part of Russia, and it was cold as hell in the winter. In the winter is 10 months, 9 months, 10 months long. The life is not a funny thing, but you meet people who are very warm, very, very interesting, very friendly, and in the same time living on the edge all the time. I made films about it. Living on the edge, that, I mean, from one moment to another, you can lose your life, or you can just damage yourself, or you can do something which is affecting other people in a negative way. And there is it's both about Russians and I call it nationals, Aborigines, people, Indians, Russian Indians. In Russia, I don't know now, but it was when I was beginning the filmmaking in probably 1998 or something, 1985, maybe 6. So there were about 100 languages in Russia, 100 languages. And there are some nations, I met them. I met a nation, Ensi. It was 160 heads, 162 families. So I met on this wedding, I met two nations, because there was another little tribe, and they were just, so the whole nation was there, plus their friends from or relatives from other families. Mganasans, 840 people on the Taimyrian Peninsula in 2 villages. Very, very special, alcoholized. There is a story behind it, but it's not time to develop it. And very unhappy. And one of the reasons that they are unhappy is that they feel that have no future, because it's understandable that Russia expects them to speak Russia, to be a part of Russian culture, but I mean, they don't want to live in the south of Russia. They want to live in those very remote villages in the north. They want to follow reindeers, and they have this culture and the language, and which is totally different, and their mentality is different too. And they don't want to change. So I met all of this, and I fall in love in people, to be honest, yes. It may be a woman, of course, it happened, but just people, children, men, grown-ups, young. I have a lot of relationships, friendly relationships with people. I just still think about them. I even want to go back to northern Siberia to meet them, and there are stories. It's just on the edge of life and death. It's not just a story about cruise and hatred of bird, but it's serious matter. There are serious matters. I have a good project for, probably it will be one of the last film I want to make, but it will be not earlier than next year. But this is exactly about this edge, life and death. And there is a very narrow path through it. And in their life, actually, every day something can happen.
Tak tím jste odpověděl i na moji poslední otázku.
You have now answered my final question, which was, are you planning to go back to Russia with your next film? We will be really looking forward to your next project, and I hope that we will be able to present it again at One World. Thank you very much for joining us in our studio.
Thank you. Thank you.
A děkuji i vám, vážení diváci a vážené diváčky, že jste se účastnili dnešní debaty
for taking part in the Q&A following the screening of Bitter Love.
Jednosvětí studio od 5 hodin.
Follow our studio at 5 o'clock.
A poté
we will be screening
Manželství.
Another film.
České duo, tak zůstaňte s námi.
And then another one, 2 Czech films tonight. Stay with us. Have a nice day.